Okay guys, so you guys have asked me, several of you guys, to do this video. And okay, you want it, I'll do it. What am I talking about? That. Okay, so as some of you guys may have or should know, I am 5'6", roughly. And this is a Dobsonian mount. Now this is a 8-inch Dobsonian mount, and it has a couple names for it. Some people call it a, well, they say the best bang for your buck. Yes, that's a term that they use specifically for Dobsonian mounts. Basically what it means is the largest kind of scope you could get for the cheapest price. Other names they call it is a light bucket. Now I personally wouldn't call this a light bucket. Usually they're referring to 12-inch and larger, but some people get them confused and call like a 6 or 8-inch light bucket. I have heard it on the forums very lately. I would not call this a light bucket, but it is a decent start. Now, what is this? They're pretty much all similar. You know, Skywatcher makes a Dob, they make it in this is a solid tube version, meaning it's a solid tube. And then you have the truss tubes. So Skywatcher makes them, Mead, Celestron has them, Zummo, Apertura. There's just lots of different names make them. They're mostly all the same. The accessories sometimes are different. But anyway, what is this? 8-inch, which is a 200 millimeter aperture. And remember, aperture, the bigger the aperture, the more you will see. And this is an f6, 1200 millimeter focal length. And that's basically it. It sits on a kind of like a Lazy Susan type of base. You really can't do imaging or astrophotography except the most simplest kind, putting your phone or camera to the eyepiece and taking a couple shots of the moon and planets. That's about it. There is no tracking. You basically just move this up and down, like that, and then left and right. The base is made out of that particle wood type of thing. Now, why did it take me so long to do a Dobsonian? Now, if you guys looked at my channel, you will see sometimes I have a picture of either me with a 16-inch Dobsonian. So 16-inch is really big, or my kids as well. So I do put it sometimes in the intro pictures or the outro pictures. And it's not that I don't like Dobsonians. It's, yes, they are the most cheapest cost. Now, when you look at it, it's still a reflecting telescope. So the tube itself, they call this the OTA, optical tube assembly, or the telescope itself is your regular reflecting telescope, but it's just on a Dobsonian mount, which was invented by Mr. Dobson. That's where the name comes from back in the 70s. So basically because before that, what it was is you would have the tube on an EQ mount. And I don't know if you guys ever recall, Mead has some huge, massive EQ, reflecting telescopes on these massive EQ mounts, like the 8-inch, they had the 10, they even had a 16-inch version of this, which was huge on an EQ mount. So it was very, very heavy. So Mr. Dobson he got that, you can get the same telescope, just put it on this press board type of mount, and it's just more portable, more cheaper, and but it has no tracking whatsoever, and that's the downfall of one of these. Now, there is tracking you could buy, but it's very expensive. I'm not getting too much into that right in this video. This video is just about what is this guy and what's a Dobsonian, and that's basically it. So you can get the Dobsonians in tabletop versions, which are small, up to 5 inches, actually up to 6 inches. I have done a video of that, the Skywatcher Heritage 130. Again, you'll need to put it on something solid for it to be any height, those tabletop versions. But the full height version like this, does come in a 4.5 inch. It probably will be about that tall. So for an adult, you're gonna be on your knees. Unless you have something like this. Now, you can get, I bought this stool thingy on Amazon, and it's about 80 bucks. Not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than the Astro chairs. The Astro chairs can go from any height up and down. So depending if you're viewing straight up, I'm still, even though I'm 5'6", I'm still looking at, bending down. Now, of course, if it's lower in the sky, then I'm really bending down. So if you have a chair, it definitely will make things easier. Now, this chair does go up and down type of thing, but again, it's 80 bucks. So, well, Canadian, just in case some of you didn't realize that. So the Astro chairs are actually about $250 to $300, and maybe even a little bit more than 300 Canadian. So it is almost as much as the whole telescope. Take that into consideration. And again, you're moving it by hand. So this way and that way. This one has the spring version, just to give it a little tension so it doesn't move too fast, type of thing. And the newer version just has a handle here, which you can just tighten the friction. Really, they're all the same. But anyway, this is what a Dobsonian looks like. The 10-inch version would probably be about the same height. And the reason is because the 10-inch version, even though it's thicker, it's usually they are f4.7 for most of them, maybe maximum 5. So this one's an f6, it's going to be a little longer. So if you get the 10-inch version, it's probably going to be about the same height, within an inch or two difference. So again, you're still going to be, you need some type of, well, you can put it on a small table, like a, actually, I'm going to pause right there and get a table. But if you do get a small table or end table, it has to be solid. If it's shaky, whatever you see in the eyepieces, that's going to be amplified, the shakes. So just take into consideration, if you get these, you're going to need a stool, or let me show you the other thing I have. Okay, so as you can see, I put it on a little table, side table. Now the only thing is, this one is about 16 inches, 18 inches by 18 inches, roughly. The height's perfect, so which means I'm only 6'7". The eyepiece is perfect, looking straight up. And of course, looking at, different heights, like this height, this is much better. So the only thing is, I think the top should be a little bit bigger. Should be maybe at least 2 by 2 feet. And the reason is, it has like little legs, and 2 of them are on the table, 1 is off the table. So it's not perfect. So this table should be just a little bit larger, but the height is perfect at about 14 inches. So anyway, if you do get a Dobsonian, or you're thinking about a Dobsonian, they do say it's the best bang for the buck. Just because, what that term means is just the lowest cost per aperture of telescope. So yes, you're getting a big telescope, and it's pretty cheap. Now this guy new is about almost 700 Canadian, $610 before tax, about $680 with tax. Now you probably might need a better find. This is not a bad finder, 9 by 50 finder, 2-inch focuser is great. But you might need a couple more eyepieces, maybe later on, a couple filters. I would recommend a Rigel or Telrad finder scope as well. But anyway, it's about $680 with tax, brand new. You could find them on the used market type of thing. But again, that's what a Dobsonian is. They're okay. You just have to move them by hand, up, down, left, and right. But that might be for you. If you want something big, and you don't want to spend $2,000 like a computerized one, of an 8-inch computerized SCT probably is about $1,600 with tax. It's probably around the $1,800 mark. So you can see it's a bit more than double, 2.5 times. So that's what a Dobsonian is, and I hope you guys like this video. Now my next video is probably going to be my most hated video, because every time I talk about it, and since we're talking about Dobsonians, is, do I like Dobsonians? Yes or no? And I'm going to explain. Again, I don't hate them. I don't particularly love them because they have a couple downfalls. So again, I've talked about this dozens and dozens and dozens of times on the forums, and it's almost like I'm telling people, you know, have you heard the term, you're telling somebody like you think their wife is ugly or their kids is ugly or they're ugly. They get so offended that, I don't know, I'm just giving you my opinion, what I think, and take it from there. If it's not your thing, I mean, there's many different telescopes for many different things. Not one does everything perfect. If one is perfect in one scenario, maybe it's very expensive. Maybe if it's cheaper in another scenario, it's lacking in a few things. For instance, like this guy. If there's one in between, maybe it does a bit of everything, but not everything perfect. So it's kind of like when I talk about Dobbs and what do I think, what do I like, it's like the most heated debate that goes, you know. It's okay, it's my personal opinion, you can have your own, but that will be my next one. What do I think of Dobbs in general? What do I like about them? What don't I like them about them? Now, most people that do these type of videos, they'll just tell you what's good about it. They won't tell you the shortfalls about it. And that's the difference, because with me, I want you guys to know what's good and bad, then you decide what you like better, you know? So that's it. So this first video will be what is a Dob and type of thing. And then my next one, since we're talking about Dobbs, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about them. Do I like them? And again, I did have a couple 16-inch Dobbs, two different versions, the truss tube, they're kind of like on poles, and then the solid tube version. So it's not that I hate them, it's just that everything has its pros and cons. And I'm gonna tell you what the pros and cons are on the next Dob video. So stay tuned, you don't wanna miss it, because no one else is gonna tell you the bad. Everybody wants to tell you a video of only what's the good, and that's it. I'm gonna tell you the bads. Anyway, Joe Jaguar, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.